Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Tool Time. And today we have Matthew Lumsden with Rewind. Matthew, welcome to our show.
Thanks, Kieran. It's great to be here.
Matthew, tell me what Rewind does. What problem do you solve in the market?
Absolutely. So Rewind is a cloud backup tool. Now, what that means is basically that if you're a e-commerce merchant or you operate on GitHub or Trello or any kind of SaaS platform, one thing that a lot of people don't realize is that if you lose data, that data actually can't be recovered automatically by that native platform. So my role is working with agencies across the globe to help their clients to understand the importance of data backup and how Rewind can be a tool used in that data backup. So specifically to Shopify and BigCommerce, which are a couple of the big platforms that I operate on. What Rewind does is essentially takes a entire capturing of that store that you have, whether it's your products or your customers or your shipping zones or whatever it might be, and it actually ensures that that data is insured and back up such that if anything were to happen, it'd be able to be recovered.
So Shopify and BigCommerce, they don't have automated backup facilities within their platforms?
Yeah, that's a great question. So essentially what Shopify and BigCommerce operate on is what's called a shared responsibility model. So what that means is if something massive were to happen to their servers, if there was a meteorite or a mass data breach, they'd be able to back up their servers at a high level. The problem is that they wouldn't be able to actually distribute whose product belonged to who, whose customer belonged to who. It'd kind of be just a mass jumble of information, if you will. And so in that shared responsibility model, anything that happens on the account level, so with an individual merchant, is actually their own responsibility to ensure that it's protected. And that's actually issued in their terms of agreement. One of those things we often just check off and skip to the next step, that you do have that responsibility as a merchant.
I think, when you and I first met and you told me that for the very first time, that surprised the heck out of me. So
yes.
scared me a little as well.
Me too when I started working here.
So, and Rewind, you have a certain status in the Shopify ecosystem as well, right? You are
That's correct.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so we are SOC 2 compliance. And essentially what that means is it's the highest level of security that's issued by them by Amazon Web Services to say, that you are a trusted source of data. And then within Shopify itself, we're the only recommended backup tool in their Shopify Plus partners directory. So we're quite trusted by a number of big SaaS platforms. And I think that speaks to the fact that we have over 100,000 customers now who trust us to protect their data.
Okay, really good. Can you show us how it works?
Absolutely. Just give me 1 second here. I'm going to share my screen. So Rewind at a high level it's a very simple to use app. So our founder, Mike Potter, created Rewind a few years ago. And the reason why he created it was essentially because he was going on these Shopify, kind of those message boards, and he saw that a lot of people were asking about what to do when their data got deleted, when it got distorted, how do we bring it back? And so what he realized very quickly was that he didn't want to just make Rewind for, the techie types. He also wanted to build it with the entrepreneur in mind. And so you'll see when I kind of go through it that it's very, very simple to use, and it's structured with intent in that way. So in the case of Shopify, you would download Rewind in your Shopify app store the way you would any app. And you can see it coming up here. So if you click on Rewind, what it's going to do is it's going to bring you to what's called a vault. And a vault is essentially a capturing of all of the data on your store that we can possibly back up. And more specifically than that, the thing you will see is the most recent updates to each of those data points. So anytime a change is made, whether it's to a product, whether it's to a price, whether it's to a customer, whatever it might be, Rewind will automatically take a backup of that and put it in the vault. Nothing is actually required by the merchant. It just runs in the background quite smoothly, and it's all accessible within that vault. So as you can see here in this Shopify store we have, it's called Alex's Apples. If I just scroll down here, you'll notice there's all sorts of different data points. So lots of products, lots of themes, locations, and what have you. So let's say something happened to something in your store. And there's a number of ways in which data distortion can occur. There's tons of horror stories about, CSV imports gone wrong or theme code edits gone wrong. We have a number of case studies of some of our closest clients who've had some pretty significant data loss. And then the other one is really just, too many cooks in the kitchen. Someone accidentally deletes something. We're all human. If I had $1 for every time I've accidentally deleted something, I'd be a millionaire. So really what we're protecting against is all those sorts of things happening and making sure that there is a backup in place. So let's say you had something that went wrong to a particular individual item. There's a few ways in which you can search for it in the vaults. You can either click filters and actually filter by content types. So let's say you wanted to filter by products and you clicked apply, it's going to show you all the products. And you can go through and scroll through and find that individual product. But a quicker way to do it is actually just to search the product itself. So let's say I type in grape and I know I had a green grape that something happened to, some kind of data deletion, data distortion. I can click on green grape here in the vault. And now on the left-hand side, it's going to show you what that green grape looks like in your current live store. On the right-hand side, you'll actually see the ability to select any version of that green grape. And now as a reminder, anytime a change has been made to that green grape, it automatically gets backed up as its own type. So you can see here, in this case, this is obviously just a skeleton store, but there's about 15 or so different versions of that green grape. If you had made 100 changes to that green grape, each one of them would be captured. So let's say I want to go back to the July 6th version of that green grape because something happened to that green grape on July 7th. You click on it and you hit restore to this version and it will automatically restore back to that version of that green grape. One other thing you can do as well is for the more techie type, you can actually take a look at the source code. And the neat thing about the source code is it will actually show you highlight in green what the change, like what the differences are between that version you're selecting and the current version you have in that store. So that's a very good way to see what has gone wrong and where the change would be made. So that's how you perform a restore on an individual level. Now, let's say something more significant happened, and unfortunately, this isn't uncommon, and you needed to restore a massive amount of data. So that is where you hit the advanced restore button. So we click here, and you'll see right here that you can restore all item types. So literally the entire store will be restored back to the way it looked at a certain time. Or you could do, you could click on blogs, restore all the blogs and custom collections, and so forth. So let's say hypothetically we had something happen. We had a third-party app integration and everything went haywire. And I don't even know exactly what was lost in my store. I just know there was a lot that went wrong. That's where I can just come here and I can click all item types. I can select a date. And the beautiful thing about it is that you can select it on a minute-to-minute basis. So if I know that at 12:07, something happened and there was haywire that occurred in my store, I can go back to 12:06, hit restore, and my entire store will go back to the way it looked at 12:06. So the advanced restore is really kind of the magic undo, hit the panic button, red alert, let's make sure everything is back smoothly the way it was before. It's the kind of thing you don't want to have to ever use, but you can rest assured that if things do go wrong, it is available. And the most important thing about it is that it happens quickly. There are a number of merchants out there who will use CSV imports to manually upload changes they've made to their store and use that as a data protecting tool. But the thing about that is, number one, there's the manual element to it. So it takes some time to bring it back online. And number two, it doesn't automatically update. So your most recent backup only exists as recently as you've exported the data. And that's where something like this, Rewind, is automatically doing it for you on the back end. And the restoration process itself is a matter of minutes instead of a matter of hours or days.
Yeah, that is a terrific thing. So let's is there more to show us online
No,
here?
that is everything. It's
Okay.
as you can see, it's fairly simple to use.
Yeah, really good. Let's unshare your screen. No, that is a terrific utility, and
Mhm.
I think a lot of people just did not understand that that automatic backup is not necessarily there at an item level, let alone
Yes.
right. And that's the thing. So automatic backup and restore. I think that is a level of functionality that almost every store needs, right? Because you never know when disaster is going to happen, or the cat hits the wrong key on your keyboard. So Matthew, thank you for doing that for us. And I'm going to put all of your information in the show notes below, and including the hyperlink to get to your app and all the rest of it. And I hope you come back in the future to give us some updates on Rewind and maybe some additional products and services that you are putting into the marketplace.
Absolutely. Happy to do so. Thank you very much for the time, Kieran.
Thanks for coming out, Matt.
Okay. Take care.